Africa is the best place on earth to visit as a tourist. Its size, population, and diverse cultures only creates a variety of experiences awaiting you as a visitor to the motherland. If you love hiking, come to Africa. If you love shopping, come to Africa. If you want to relax on the beach unbothered about the problems that await you back at home, come to Africa. Anyways, here is the tourism of Africa. Like, subscribe, and share please to help us. Thanks and enjoy. We'd like to first mention that we obviously will not cover every single place to visit in Africa, as there is so much to talk about, and that's why we have you, the audience, to let us know some hidden gems on the continent. The most recognizable form of tourism in Africa is wildlife tourism. With animals like lions and elephants native to Africa, you could visit so many parks in Africa. In fact, probably every single African country has more than one national park to visit, where you could see endangered fauna and wildlife. However, the major parks are the Serengeti National Park in Tanzania, the Masai Mara Reserve Park in Kenya, and the Kruger National Park in South Africa. Here you will see lions, elephants, monkeys, zebras, crocodiles, hippos, and many other animals. However, if you visit the Serengeti National Park between June and July, you will witness the Great Migration, an event in which millions of wildebeest cross the borders of Tanzania and Kenya. If watching animals is not enough for you and you prefer taking adventures in nature, then you know climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania is the challenge you're looking for. It has 6 routes, varying in difficulties. Other mountains to climb are the Atlas Mountains in Morocco, Mount Kenya in Kenya of course, the Drakensberg in South Africa, or the Simeon Mountains in Ethiopia, a place where you can find Waila ibex, only native to Ethiopia. If you rather enjoy witnessing a waterfall and listening to the roar of water clashing against itself, there are too many waterfalls on the African continent. However, Victoria Falls is the pinnacle of waterfall sightseeing on the continent, and probably the world. Did you know that there is a point at the top of the waterfall where you can sit and not fall off the tip of the waterfall? On the drier side, you can try to explore 3.5 million square miles of the largest subtropical desert in the world. The Sahara is a place where you can embark on activities like hiking, riding on 4x4s, or camels. Do not be fooled, you will get some breathtaking views on a sea of sand. If you prefer nautical tourism, you have to experience a cruise on the Nile in Egypt, offering aquatic sightseeing serenity. Other water adventures include cruising on Lake Malawi, the Congo River, or the more local Mariosetra wetlands. Canyons are another source of tourism. However, the Fish River Canyon is the premier canyon destination in Africa. If the heat is too much and you prefer a much cooler location to vacation, then you could go to Afriski in Lesotho between June and August. It is one of the few ski resorts in Africa, and it can take up to 320 people at a time. Other ski resorts in Africa are Tifindel in South Africa, Krea and Tikja in Algeria, and Ifrane, the Stilfren, and Ukamiden in Morocco. If you're looking to connect with the continent through history, there are a plethora of historical locations to visit on the continent. The obvious thought that comes to mind of most people would be the Egyptian pyramids, part of the 7 wonders of the world. Initially, over 118 of them were built, but over time their population has decreased. You could visit different locations like Saqqara, Dashur, and the uber-famous Giza, with pyramids dating back to the 3 ancient Egyptian dynasties. Those are not the only pyramids in Africa though. Going south to Sudan, you can visit the Nubian Pyramids, constructed during the Kushite Empire. Though not as famous as the Egyptian pyramids, the numbers double those of the Egyptian pyramids. If instead you are looking for a place of controversial history or a place of heritage, then you can visit the castles that hold the history of the transatlantic slave trade. In Ghana, you can visit many forts and castles that were built in the 1500s. The Elmira Castle, in particular, is the oldest European structure on the African continent. It began as a trading post for gold, but then turned into a slave loading station during the Atlantic slave trade. Going further south, you could visit the Mandela Capture Site in South Africa, a location that commemorates the arrest of Nelson Mandela before he spent 27 years in prison. Since North Africa has earlier history with Greece, Rome, and the Ottomans, visiting countries like Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco gives a visitor the opportunity to experience Asian influences in architecture and culture through historical buildings and structures built prior to the 15th century that still stand, like the amphitheater of El Jem, built in 238 AD. Specific cities include Tipasa, or the Timgad ruins in Algeria, Marrakech and Fez in Morocco, Kairouan and Tatooine in Tunisia. If sightseeing sounds tiring and you just want to spend hard-earned cash on luxuries, native to Africa, then shopping for foreign fabrics in urban areas is a possibility. You have to visit South Africa as it has the most world-class malls in Africa. Other malls you can visit in Africa are Sandton City or Mall of Africa in South Africa, Cairo Festival City in Egypt, or Morocco Mall in Morocco. Lagos is another place to visit as you can go street shopping, bargaining for objects you can only find in Africa. Do you like festivals where you can be in the midst of cultural events? Then you can plan around many local events all over the continent. Without getting into detail, some of the best events are Panafest in Ghana, Eyo Festival in Nigeria, Dakar in Senegal, Mescal Festival in Ethiopia, Mombasa Carnival in Kenya, National Arts Festival in South Africa, Festival of the Dhow Countries in Zanzibar, the Abu Simbel Festival in Egypt, the Gerawal Festival in Chad, and the Festival of the Dancing Masks in Burkina Faso. If you are very laid back and would prefer pampering and white sands and seclusion, look no further than Zanzibar, an archipelago of Tanzania. You could visit Zuri Zanzibar or go to the private islands of Memba Island Lodge, regarded as one of the best in the world with only space for 20 guests. Mozambique, being on the coast, has its own luxury spots like Azura Benguera. Seychelles and Mauritius, being islands off the coast of Africa, are known for their quality services and serene beach aesthetics. We cannot forget the beach resorts waiting for you in South Africa and Kenya as well. If you are spiritual and seek instead for religious pilgrimage, there are some historical sites to visit on the African continent. Lalibela in Ethiopia is a town with many famous rock-cut monolith churches. You can see the Church of St. George or Beit Gabriel Rufuel, amongst other beautiful old churches. Djenné in Mali has the biggest mud building in the world, which is the Great Mosque of Djenné. Lastly, if you're looking for a single destination on the continent, then the best cities you can visit are Cape Town for its beaches, natural attractions and nightlife, Marrakech and Cairo for their history and proximity to Europe, Windhoek in Namibia for its safety and contemporary look, Nairobi for the nature sightseeing, Lagos, Nigeria as it's the most populated city in Africa and the biggest economy in Africa, and Accra as it's a good introduction to Africa. If you spend a year visiting every African country, trying to see all the tourist destinations would not even amount to 30% of everything possible to experience as a tourist. So take your time and enjoy the concentrated experiences each area can bring. The motherland awaits. Thanks for watching. Will we see you in the next one?